What's the single most important item in your home that has a value of $1 or less? A best brother in the world pin from my brother who passed away. He gave it to me when he was 6. Edit. Thanks everyone, it means a lot. It was a few years ago and I've made peace. I hope has happy. For all you still suffering, I hope you get through it. It gets better. That's very sweet and heartwarming. And I'm very sorry for your loss. Speaking of brother, I have kept the loop bands that my youngest brother gave to me 6 years ago. He was just 10 when he made it. Just a mediocre rubber band bracelet that I brought with me to study and live abroad. I kept it together with his favorite shirt that he also sneakily tucked in my luggage. Edit. A word. A ratty teddy bear passed down from my much older brothers to me is the only item I have that survived my insane childhood. Sounds like he makes a great balloon. How did this comment get barely any attention? My collection of old dog tags, literally dogs. I have all my 4-legged dog tags since I was 9. I'm 54 now. I have it in my will to be buried with ease, adding to the list of things I wish I had done. It's never too late. A rock shaped like a heart. My fiance and I took a trip to Poland and Greece. I bought her a heart-shaped rock from a salt mine in Poland. Didn't cost $1. But at a red sand beach in Greece 4 days later, she found a rock that was shaped perfectly like a heart. This one was free. Both rocks now sit next to each other in our house we just bought. Also, one rock is dark and the other red. I so happen to have red hair and she has dark hair. She found the red heart rock for free and I bought the salt rock. Oh, that's so sweet. One time, about 5 years into our relationship, my girlfriend, now wife, and I were in separate rooms in our 1-bedroom apartment in early December. From the other room, she hollered to me, "What do you want for Christmas?" I had been working full-time, taking part-time university classes to finish my degree, and had been volunteering as part of a youth mentor program. So I said all I really want is a break. 3 weeks later, I'm unwrapping a very heavy show box. After getting through the mountain of duct tape and several layers of wrapping paper, I had my very own brick. "I really didn't understand what you wanted it for," she said, "but you sounded so sure of it. So here you go." Cue about 10 minutes of laughs. And now that brick sits proudly on my desk. Every time I'm overwhelmed or feeling like I've taken on too much, I look at it, pick it up, have a little laugh, and put it back so I can carry on. Best gift ever. That's an incredibly sweet story. Thanks for sharing. A matchstick. I had a door that was sagging in my house due to the screw over time wearing a larger hole in the wall. And after some research I found a tip that shoving a matchstick with the tip broken off inside and a dab of glue could make the hole smaller. That matchstick was worth its weight in gold. So about $1. After it helped me fix a huge annoyance, alternately toothpicks or a wooden golf tee, my door came off its hinges because the screws stripped the holes from decades of use. Very old house, and this is how I fixed it. Wooden golf tees in the hole and toothpicks in the remaining gaps. Sand the broken end down once dry, and you've got a brand new surface to drill. My son found a rock on the way home from school in kindergarten. We were walking home through this park we always cut through, and he grabbed the rock and fell in love with it. It just looked like mud to me, but who cares, he loved it. When we got home I helped him wash it off in the sink, and it was black and kinda bluish. He said it was awesome, and then gave it to me. It's one of my most precious things in the world to me. Oh, that's adorable. My stepdaughter loved gifting me rocks. I've kept quite a few. One of my favorites is a rose quartz she actually found on a hike in the mountains. It looked like a regular rock, but after we cleaned it up, I noticed it looked like quartz. I asked my friend, who collects minerals, and she told us what it was. I thought that was just absolutely amazing. My stepdaughter used to give me rocks too, but I wish she would have handed them to me, rather than leaving them in her pockets to go through the wash. I remember asking her why she didn't clean out her pockets, and she said she thought I might like a little surprise while I was doing laundry. The book that my grandma used to read to me, It's Worthless, wasn't even listed on Goodreads until I added it, but she died in 2005, the day after my 8th birthday. and remembering her voice reading it is one of the clearest memories I have. Would definitely save it in a fire. What book is it? C.A.T. Crusoe by Mark Burgess, about a sophisticated cat that is shipwrecked and meets a band of giant pirate mice. I have a $1 bill saved and put away in a drawer. The significance behind it is it was my last dollar before I decided to stop gambling and doing hard drugs. I had to stop cold turkey. I was so done being a half human or an empty shell. At first it was just $1 that sat in my center console in my car. I would look at it and be reminded what I was doing. I've been sober for well over a year now. I feel like that $1 is special. I know in Narcotics Anonymous they get something saying how long they've been sober or whatever. That $1 is my token. My token for fighting a silent battle that I cannot share with people, otherwise I could lose my job. When I was 4 or 5, the last time I ever saw my great grandmother, she gave me a $1 bill and said, as long as you keep this dollar you'll never be broke. I spent it the next day on some candy. That may be my biggest regret. Handwritten letters from my grandmother who passed away a few years ago. While it is sad to see her handwriting get progressively worse for each letter at the end, it is nice to have something that was that close to her. I have them stored in a small box and it always goes into our evacuation bag during fire season. Evacuation bag during fire season. Man, it's crazy some of the stuff I take for granted. I guess it makes sense, but I'd never have thought something like that would exist if you hadn't said. There's a picture of my wife and I with our adopted daughter. The picture was taken when she was around 13 or so, but we didn't adopt her until she was 16. When we took, it was just us and a kid we kind of knew from church. It's so cool to look back on and see how far we've come. Edit. Thanks for the awards and the kind comments, but I can promise you, we've gotten way more out of her living with us than she has. She's an amazing human being. If you'd like to read the story, check the comments below. You didn't just bring her home from church suddenly one day, did you? No, you make that mistake more than 2 or 3 times and they start looking at you funny. I have a church organ in my house that I got for free when a church in another state couldn't find an organist and gave up the organ. I minored in music in college and I'm an organist, so it's probably the most important less than $1 item I own. Wow, church organs are big things. Where do you put all the pipes? How did you get it into your house? I have so many questions. It's a MIDI organ. It uses a computer and sound samples of a real organ to make sound through my speaker system. However, I do have a few ranks of pipes that were my roommate and I, both musicians, going to rig up to let the organ control to have a real pipe organ. But as of now, pipes not being functional, it is simply a Hauptwerk powered organ. I got this complimentary little webcam cover that slides back and forth over the camera lens on my laptop. It's saved me from making a fool of myself on Zoom many times now. I got this goodie bag for participating in this one event, and it had a webcam cover in it. Now every day I thank this little guy for helping me during online classes, or just for helping me to keep the privacy. We've all heard about that teacher who accidentally turned her camera on while shitting in a Zoom class/meeting. Suddenly we all want one of these. Nail file with a bit that gets the grit out of your nails. So that is what it's for. I was just making a point of never using it for that in front of anyone in case I was wrong. It just always seemed too convenient to be its true use for some reason. How crazy is it that it's a reasonable assumption that if something works well we must be using it wrong? I have to take pills for tension headaches or I can barely function. I get really dizzy. One pill costs $1. So when a tension headache flares up and I'm dizzy and sick feeling, there is no better dollar spent than on that pill. I get tension headaches too. They suck. Is the pill you take recipe or OTC? I may spell this wrong, but it's something like sumatriptan. The Donovan. It's a $1 bill with a picture of ex-UF basketball coach Billy Donovan taped over the president. It was a single dollar a friend and I would pass back and forth, that we would bet on different things. It's a trophy we have passed back and forth over the last 20 years. It's an item that has kept us in touch. The fact that you have misspelled Donovan twice makes me think you really believe he's called Donovan, and I just had to point that out for my own peace of mind. P.S. Love the story behind it. By the way, at least it was a consistent error. Dad's straw gardening hat. It's torn and worn, but he died 2 years ago, and it reminds me of him when I wear it. My dad used to make these wire puzzle toys. I have the wire, and I can make more of them, but the ones he made are priceless. Gang shit, my great grandma always made these for us when we were kids. I couldn't make one, but I run across one here and there and it always makes me smile. I have a heart-shaped rock that is about the size of a quarter. My son gave it to me when he was 3 and told me to keep it forever. I have it in my back pocket daily. I have it in my back pocket daily. Don't sit on many hard surfaces. I take it. It's pretty flat. The rock, that is. Not very noticeable even when I do. A single post-it note folded into a paper airplane with the words, "Will you be my boyfriend?" and 2 check boxes labeled yes and yes. Here's my husband now. I have a fortune cookie note in my wallet that says you and your spouse will have a happy life together. It was a second date. We have been happily married 24 years. It has been a very happy life. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.